Welcome back. Hurricane Ian brought record-breaking storm surge, not just to the Florida coast, but the Carolinas peaked with some record levels of flooding too. Intense storm surge, like what you see right here, that this causes coastal erosion and takes salt pretty far inland. Meteorologist Elisa Rafa explains tonight how those symptoms of climate change are moving our marshes.
The reason I find them so interesting is because they're that frontier of change, and so they're so responsive to things that we as humans do.
These coastal wetlands are crucial to the food we eat, the homes we build, and the storms we survive.
Whether it's modify the coastline or affect the way sea levels are rising, they're some of the first environments to respond to that.
But this view from above only tells part of the story.
We come and go.
These marshes are changing faster now more than ever.
It is all natural. These things have happened in the past, but the rate at which we're seeing them happen now is what's alarming a lot of us in the climate science field.
Joshua Melstein is a PhD student in coastal geology at UNC's Institute of Marine Sciences. He's tracking the movement of marshes.
While we have a new growth of salt marsh in the upland, we have an erosion further out, closer to the waterways.
Movement that's triggered by sea level rise.
We see about 4 millimeters a year of sea level rise. Even though it sounds like a pretty small amount, that little incremental amount of water level rise is reaching higher and higher areas that were once used to being covered in fresh water, rain maybe, that are now seeing salt water and changing the ecosystem.
These marshes often protect our homes.
Depending on how much marsh is removed and how much is created, you might change things like the amount of carbon that's drawn down or the amount of species that can depend on that landscape.
And the homes of sea critters we depend on. So to find answers, we venture into these moving marshes that look beautiful, but...
What is that smell? There's some bacteria, so I think it's sulfate reducing bacteria. It's like anytime there's anaerobic respiration, so these bacteria can only make energy when there's no oxygen, and they live in the soil, and their byproducts are, one of them is sulfur.
That science talk verse smells like rotten eggs.
We are standing in the frontier of sea level rise, standing in the middle of saltwater marshes. But as sea levels rise and storms become more intense, that salt water is making it farther inland. Look at those trees, skeletons left behind, now called a ghost forest, where that salt water is essentially killing the trees. All the greenery behind it is what they used to look like. Those trees are the next victims of that sea level rise and saltwater intrusion.
To figure out when and where this transition happened, they cut deep into the soil.
You can hear cutting through all the roots and rhizomes there.
To pull out a core.
Roll it open,
hold
yeah.
this while it opens.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. And it should turn on itself at some point.
To reveal a slice of history.
Oh, this is wonderful. This is wonderful.
It may not look it, but this core is filled with information.
When you look at it, it kind of just looks like mud and it's uninteresting, but here we see sea level rise.
It gives them a 3D look at our coast.
Normally we just have satellite imagery or imagery from drones or a map that somebody drew 200 years ago. But this allows us to integrate over time as well.
Since marshes grow vertically by compressing on top of each other.
The older sediment would be compressed back towards the bottom.
Yes,
and
exactly.
And the newer, fresher soil is on top.
The soil tells its own story of its past. But as it migrates inland to follow the salt water,
you'll see them moving into areas that used to be our backyards, our football pitch, our agricultural land. Like we just drove by a farm, and I'm sure in 50 years that's going to be a salt marsh.
It also gives us a taste of the future. While some marsh is growing inland,
that's why folks are interested in kind of measuring how much new marsh is being created versus how much is being eroded at one edge.
Coastal erosion, storm surge, and fast rises in the tides are erasing marshes closer to the water.
It's like root matter.
These cores also show us where carbon is stored. Marshes can be more efficient at the job than rainforests.
You can see like roots all the way down. Even though these are many years old, they haven't totally broken down. They stay there So that's just carbon that's being stored in the soil.
But what seeps in doesn't always stay there.
Now, if that marsh is eroded, all that carbon is released back into the waterways and then eventually the atmosphere.
Now twist.
These cores tell us that marshes are good at keeping pace with sea level rise.
If you have a really high rate of sea level rise and the marsh can't build elevation as fast as the sea levels are rising, so suddenly the water is just here all the time, and this is totally submerged, all the plants here will die off in a matter of like a year or so.
But only to an extent. Too much water suffocates the marshy grass.
There's a chance that when you look at the net change, there's actually a loss in salt marsh area because the amount of erosion is greater than the amount of encrosion.
So back in the lab, Melstein takes his cores and cuts them into little slices. He freeze dries and stores them,
This is what we would have been standing on today. This is a layer of the first sediment.
cutting them layer by layer, 1 centimeter at a time, 100 slices in total.
So here you can see like a pretty well consolidated one, right? It's not as soupy anymore. Most of the water's already been squeezed out of it. And it kind of just looks like, I mean, you can see there, it's a pretty nice even cut. So this is a lot easier to work with, and we're down 63 to 64 centimeters.
He suits up and puts chemistry to work. Each of these centimeters can then be tested to figure out its age.
My guess is that something this deep is going to be more than 150 years old.
Because so far, the cores have only told us that there was a transition in the marsh, just not when.
The rate of this marsh growth, is it faster or slower than sea level rise?
And by using the past, we can forecast the future.
If it's slower, we're going to lose that marsh, it's going to drown. If it's faster, that marsh will stay as a marsh until it can no longer, because sea level rise is just too fast.
There are places where marshes and other habitats are sort of getting squeezed between all this structure we've built and the water that's rising.
Dr. Joel Fodry is a marine ecologist at UNC.
That's going to change the dynamic in those places and probably cost us some of these coastal habitats.
He and Melstein align. Conservation is key.
We know a lot about these ecosystems, and now it's about what can we do, where can we direct money, where can we as concerned citizens start to focus our efforts.
In order to conserve the benefits we need to reap from these marshes, like coastal protection, wildlife habitat, and carbon storage, we need to protect the land it lives on. A study done by Climate Central ranks North Carolina as one of the most vulnerable, forecasting more than an 80% loss in marshes if we keep developing land as we are now. But the study shows we can prevent many of those losses with some conservation. This interactive map lets you get to those changes county by county. You can change the pollution pathway to best and worst case scenarios to better understand the impact we could have, both good and bad, on our coast.
The bumper sticker says no wetlands, no seafood, and there's a lot of truth in that.
Marshes act as nurseries for all the baby shrimp, crabs, and seafood we love.
And so even if you want to go catch a big fish that lives miles offshore, when that fish was a baby fish, it might be in these marshes.
As these critters chase salt, they're also running into other obstacles like land development, poor water quality, and warming ocean temperatures.
It's not just warmer, but it's sea level rise, it's ocean acidity, it's storminess, it's changes in the seasonal timing of things.
Simply put, it's not simple. These are complex changes happening in our ocean ecosystems.
All of those are syndromes of climate change. And so trying to unravel this mystery, it does take time.
We can't fight off these changes.
We're going to keep adapting. That's our best hope, is to keep adapting and finding new solutions, new mousetraps.
The marshes will move with or without us.
They might change in area. There might be half as many marshes in 1,000 years as there are today, or there might be twice as many. The jury's still out. A lot of it depends on things like what we choose to do at the coast.
Because in the end, it's our home too. Meteorologist Elisa Raffa, Queen City News.